I knew it was bad, but I didn't know how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what we could do about it is commission a study.
Study
Ooh,
the problem.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Let's study the problem, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting when he was talking about how, there were some people at a certain level of the government who that wanted to help, right? But then they were like, my hands are tied. I can't actually authorize buying masks or something like that, yeah, just the levels of bureaucracy.
It's insane. Well, the best way to solve this is by giving the federal government more money, because that will free them from bureaucracy, right?
They'll have lots of money to study the problem.
Oh, man. I mean, when he was talking about all of these mask manufacturers, these new American mask manufacturers that are all going to go out of business. So I bought some American-made surgical masks from one of these new companies.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing a lot of sales lately, like 30% off masks.
Oh, that kind of sales.
Yeah.
Cheap it. Like cheap.
Well, because I think they're essentially... I saw an interview with the CEO of this company who said they can last maybe another 4 months without any help from the government.
Well, that's what Mike Bowen was saying. That so they're all going to have to they're going to sell it for pennies just to recoup any kind of money.
And that's going to distort the market. And then also the Chinese mask manufacturers. Yeah, I remember hearing some people talking about how they were just getting random emails from Chinese companies after they stopped restricting the mask supply. Suddenly there was a flood of new Chinese mask manufacturers who were just emailing random people with China connections and offering to send them masks or sell them masks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just this sudden surge of Chinese mask companies.
What upsets me is like how do you not see this pattern? Like, China undercuts the market, and we're like, oh, cheap masks, and then China completely cuts off the supply, and we're like, oh no, we can't get any masks, and then China sells them to us, and we're paying $3 a mask when we could get it at a quarter of the price, or even far less from Americans. But we pay it anyway. Well, and then China comes back now that there's a glut of American stuff on the market, and China's again undercutting the prices. And we're like, ooh, cheap masks.
Well, I think one thing that got lost in that is, Mike Bowen's company was selling masks for 79 cents, where Chinese manufacturers were selling them to Newsom for $3. But Mike Bowen could not, he wasn't able to supply all of California. You know what I mean?
Right, because they didn't have the capacity built up.
And then it takes 6 months to ramp up your capacity.
Yeah.
And then it's too late. And then
6
you
months
have
in a pandemic, you have to have American, what do you say, warm base, right?
Yeah.
You have warm bases.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing, that a lot of the machinery gets sold off to other countries. It's just like this whole domino effect of these, the manufacturing getting completely gutted in the U.S.
And you can see how, if something really bad hits, it could just cause a complete collapse of American society and civilization.
I mean, this is not as bad as the PPE or the medical, medicine and that kind of stuff. But right now, we're in the middle of this huge shortage of all sorts of stuff, right? Because of these supply chain issues.
Mm-hmm. Just the fact that Chinese ports are totally backlogged.
Well, and now they're kind of backlogging American ports.
Yeah, the port of Oakland in California is there's, several weeks wait once ship is there in the bay before it can actually dock at a port and unload. That's insane. Yeah,
and I think I'm reading that it's really only going to get worse from here, that we haven't really seen this is not the worst part of the shortage, that it's going to get worse and it could last, another year.
Oh, good. Good.
Or more,
And the crazy thing is all the shortages we're seeing with the shipping containers that are causing this other domino effect. It's it could have been avoided if we just made most stuff in America.
And I think an important thing that Mike Bowen brought up is this is not just part of it is American consumers making a choice, but a lot of things happen behind the scenes that we have no control over. Like when China sells vitamins for pennies on the pound or whatever, like below market value. And like Kellogg's will buy vats of Chinese vitamins to fortify their cereals. Like that's not something any consumer really knows about or even thinks about.
Right. Or has any control over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't, like that is not something that can be solved by, oh, I'll buy another cereal brand, because they're all doing it.
Yeah, I was at Home Depot. I wanted to buy a new toolkit, and I actually had a sales rep at Home Depot help me, and I said to him, "Help me get everything I possibly can made in America." And he's like, "It's going to be more expensive." I'm like, I don't care. Like, see what you can do." And every single thing that there was an option for, I got made in America, and I could still only get less than half. And it was insane.
I mean, that's shocking. I always thought it was Home Depot.
Well, I mean, when he was talking, Mike was talking about Rigid being like, I didn't realize that was Home Depot's, in-store brand.
Yeah, that was
then they shipped
a
off
good
to
take.
China. Yeah, it's so frustrating because I am really on a kick lately of trying to buy everything I can made in America, and just searching through, because often you can't really tell where certain things are made.
Like Mike was talking about how it'd be like manufactured in the US or whatever, but like really, assembled.
Yeah, that's very misleading. But yeah, and then I remember looking at sheets, trying to find sheets made in America, and there's one company that makes American sheets made from cotton grown in America. Because that's another thing, right? Where's the cotton
Most cotton comes from Xinjiang and slave labor.
So then they were talking about how you could buy towels made out of their cotton, made in the only factory left in the United States that could make towels. And you just think about, like, there's one factory in Georgia that can still make just like normal terry cloth towels, right? It just...
Don't forget to bring a towel.
What? There we go. Yeah.
Shelley, weren't you telling me about one city in China that makes all of the microwaves in the world for every company?
It wasn't. It was one factory in Guangzhou.
One factory?
Yeah. So I was looking at buying a new microwave, right? Just a normal countertop microwave. And I was looking at which are the best microwaves. And Wirecutter did a thing where they basically took apart a bunch of microwaves and discovered that inside they were all made by the same company called Midea, Midea, and it is one factory in Guangzhou that seems to be manufacturing all of the cheap countertop microwaves for every brand, almost every brand. I think Panasonic was the one that they didn't do, but basically you could buy any branded microwave you want.
So all these competing brands are actually made at the same Chinese factory.
Yeah, I think that actually happens a lot, where a Chinese factory will make multiple will make the same product for a bunch of different brands, and you might have higher or lower tier materials or whatever, but it's made at the same place.
They say without bitterness, we wouldn't know what sweetness is. If it's all bitter, I'd like a little bit of sweetness in the mix.
I mean,
a little bit.
But that's why we have Shelley.
Oh yeah, I'm
a ray of sunshine, ball of thermonuclear fusion spewing out radiation.
I was going to talk about the difficulty of finding things made in America, which is
carry on,
which is a definitely really cheerful thing. So I tried to back a Kickstarter campaign for a clock, this alarm clock that was, advertised as they were going to make it all in America. And it was this, analog quality, hand machine, whatever. It was supposed to be a great alarm clock. And the music to wake you up was supposed to be backed by science and composed by a Grammy-winning composer, whatever. It was a very expensive alarm clock. I backed it partly because it was going to be completely made in America.
Mm-hmm.
After they had collected all the pledges, then they sent an email to everyone going, well, actually, we couldn't find a manufacturer in America, and so we've decided to work with this great company in China, which will definitely guarantee the same quality that we were going to get from American manufacturers, and we feel really good about this. And a lot of people who backed it were upset. And their comments were full of people being like, I backed this because it was going to be made in America.
Well, I don't know why everyone was so upset, because clearly that is the best wake-up call.
And then they defended themselves, by saying that, well, we really tried, but, we were dealing with all of these. And to be fair to them, it was happening during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, we were dealing with a bunch of, shortages, and people couldn't guarantee how long it would take them to get materials and all this stuff. And then when we added it up, it would cost us $200 each to make this alarm
And
clock.
how much were they charging?
They were selling it for $250.
So,
and they were like, this is too expensive to make the alarm clock for $200. So we had to, and then, somebody introduced us to this great factory in China, and they have great quality control and all the stuff. And they're like, we wanted to make it in America, but we just couldn't.
So after they made this announcement, you were obviously upset. Did you like get your money back?
Yeah, I had posted a comment saying that I was upset about it. And, one of the reasons I try not to buy stuff from China is because of genocide of the Uyghurs and different things and slave labor. And they refunded me, and they refunded a bunch of people who complained. But also, once we were refunded, then our comments were hidden.
Oh.
Because then it's like we're not backing it anymore.
What's that company again, Shelley?
It was called One Clock.
One Clock.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of a niche.
Yeah,
thing.
$250 alarm clock.
Yeah, right.
By a rooster born and raised in America.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just
and
like...
you can't eat it, too.
Can't eat the alarm clock. But it was just this... I mean, I did feel a little bit bad for them when they explained the whole situation, where they were like, oh, like I could see that in a pandemic it might have been. But again, the reason that we have all these shortages because of the pandemic is because we've hollowed out our manufacturing base in the US.
And this is the thing. It's not going to get easier to wean ourselves off China as it goes along. It's only going to get harder.